Okay, so I'm going to walk you through a t-test in Excel using the data set that we had made or that I had given you. A couple things that you'll need to adjust in Excel and in SPSS. So if you're using this in SPSS, you need to recode these values, the categorical values, as numbers. In this case, because I think it's easiest, I'm going to call male 1 and female 2 non-binary 3. So just going through and recoding them all. There we go. Okay, so now Excel has this cool function that we're going to use to help us get organized. And you can go up here to data, the top, and then ask it to sort. You get this little pop-up screen here, and it says, what do you want us to sort by? So you say, I'd like for you to sort by that gender question that I just changed up. Question number 35, gender. And the default is order smallest to biggest. So that works for us. So let's say okay. So what it did was, if you look at this gender here, it's not just ordering that one, but it's all the other cases that went with it, right? All the other numbers are reorganized. It's kind of reordered all of your 24 people so that the ones that were 1, which was male, came first, 2 is female, they came second, and then the non-binary is there at the bottom. We'll delete that thing. My notes. You can do this to any of your categorical data that you'd like to use for running a t-test or a ANOVA, which is what we're doing for the assignment. So the next thing that I want to do, and this is, you could do it on the same sheet. I like to put it on another sheet just so that it's clear, it's clean, I don't mess up what I've already done. So this is just me being a little picky about this, but I like to go down here at the bottom. So down here at the bottom and hit the plus sign to get a new sheet. I don't know why it does not want to give me a new sheet right now. There we go. And I'm going to call, you double click on this or you highlight it and it'll let you rename it. So I'm going to call it t-test setup. So if I'm looking at that variable that I just changed in that first gender questions sheet, right, that it's column U, and it was gender. I had male, female, and non-binary. So for the t-test, you're going to compare two different categories. So because we only had one non-binary person, I'm going to do male and female, adding those as the category names up here. And I'm going to go back to the gender questions. So male was all of these people who had 1 for this U category, right? All of these 1s. And I'm going to look at what males said about people deny that I face obstacles because of my gender identity. And so I'm going to go ahead and copy. So I'll drag down to the bottom of the 1s here, and I will copy, Control C, copy, all of these responses of the males. I'm going to go back to this other sheet and paste that under male. Again, go back to the gender questions, and I'm going to go over and copy all of the responses in that same column, right? The responses to that same question of the females. Control C, and go back to t-test setup, and go back up here and Control V. So there's a little bit of a problem here because there are more males than females. We'll talk about how to why that's a problem in a second. But basically, this is the setup that I want for doing a t-test. like on other Excel formulas, you choose a cell that you're not already using for something else, and go down here at the bottom here, and we're going to label it t-test, and there's your cell, and then you go back up here to formulas and look for more functions here. Statistical, we want to go down to statistics again, like we did for average and standard deviation. And then we're going to scroll all the way down to a T. And t-test is right there at the bottom. So it says array 1. That is all of the data for one of your categories. So we're going to choose array 1 is male. And you select, drag to select all of the guys for male. So, and it puts it in as a little formula there. So those are all the cells from A2 through A15. Array 2, you can do the same drag and drop, or you can use that same formula if you'd like. So it would be B2, and you put the colon, and then the last one is B10. Right, so this is collecting all of those data. Going down to tails, when we talk about a one-tailed or a two-tailed test, that has to do with the kinds of answers we're looking for. We rarely use a one-tailed test. Almost all of our tests, excuse me, are going to be a two-tailed test just because it's simpler. It is making less assumptions about what we're going to find as our answer. So we'll put a 2 there for two-tailed test. And then we come down here for type. And now the whole variance thing and the fact that we have more males than females matters here. There's several different types of t-test. And what we're looking at here are 2 different samples, right? The males are different from the females. There's no way that those are connected in any necessary way. So there are 2 separate samples. So we know we want a 2-sample t-test. The question here is whether we want homoscedastic. That means they have the same kind of variance. Don't worry, I'm not going to test you for whether you know that word. So 2-sample with equal variance or 2-sample with unequal variance. Since there's a ton more males than females, we're probably going to guess here that it's going to be unequal variance. I haven't run the standard deviations of these 2 groups. If you have done the means and standard deviations because you were required to do it earlier in the lab, and those standard deviation numbers are pretty similar, you can actually choose a 2 here. You're more likely to get significance in your t-test if you choose a 2 than if you choose a 3. Because there's more degrees of variability that are kind of clued in if you're looking at a 2-sample test with unequal variance. But in this case, there's a ton more males than females. We're going to go ahead and put a 3 in there. And you can see your answer for the t-test is already popped up here. If you get an answer where it has numbers and then a dash and another set of numbers, the other set of numbers is your p-value. P-value is how confident we are that that test is significant. If you, like in this case, don't get a p-value, it means your test is not significant. Not a huge surprise because we don't have a whole lot of people in our sample, so that's not too much of a surprise there. So then we'll go ahead and hit OK, and you see that number that I was showing you before is right there now. So our t-test number is 0.07. This is really low, and we do not have significance here. So in SPSS, if you're running a t-test, it'll give you the p-value even if it's not significant. In Excel, if it's not significant, it won't tell you the p-value. So in social sciences, our notation for not significant is NS. So you would say our t equals, T equals 0.07, and NS is our, it's not significant. Okay? Similarly, you would run the same kinds of instructions using functions, statistics, and going to the analysis of variance in here. Um, as described in one of the videos that I have on the lab, to do an analysis of variance, but we have 3 variables, right? It'd be male, female, and non-binary. In this case, that doesn't actually work because we only have 1 person that identified as non-binary. You'd want more than an N of 1. But you could do it across multiple races. So this is the idea. The little piece that was missing from the lab is that you need to change how you set it up in order to do a t-test or an ANOVA on it, so that you have your categorical variables as columns. That helps, and then your other as cases. Okay. If you have other questions, please send me an email. We'll also talk about this in our lab on Thursday, and we'll work on this some more.